If you call yourself a disc golf fan and you're not excited for this year's USDGC, then I question your fandom. And if you think Nate Doss is washed up because he hasn't won a major title since his 2011 World Championship, then you haven't been paying attention. Doss has finished in the top 10 in 7 of his last 8 major appearances. His game is predicated on delivering in the biggest moments on the biggest stages. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more consistent finisher than the 3-time world champ. In fact, the two guys who have 16 open world titles between them managed only to get to 5 under par in the opening round, compared to Doss's 11. Opening round statement? Made. Here's Nate with Terry Miller after his round.
I'm the disc golf guy out here reporting for Spin 18. I'm joined by Nate Doss, who just carded himself a 56. Tell us about it, Nate.
Well, I mean, you know, there's sometimes when you know you're shooting hot, or you know, maybe you don't know. This was one of those days that just seemed real easy. You know, we're out here real early this morning. The fog's on the, you know, the fog and dew's all over the practice field, and it was real quiet and calm. And you know, it was just one of those easy days that you know, all golfers really look for, especially in a tournament like this that's so long and grueling. It's nice to come out, get through the first day with really, you know, no issues at all, and you know, now we're off and running. So I'm going to just try to build on it.
And you said you were out here early. Did the flow of play work well for you?
I mean, it definitely worked well. You know, ever since we've gone to this smaller field here, we've had way less backups, very little waiting. So I think it's great for not only spectators, but the players can stay in a real flow, especially if you're playing well. And if you're not, you know, you just got to focus on your game. But yeah, no, the flow was great.
I saw Val shortly after you were turning in your scorecard. I said, how'd you shoot? What was the score? And she's like, I don't know. It looked like he was doing well. So it proves you guys were just really in the zone out there having a good time. How'd the rest of the card do?
Rest of the card did okay. You know, I mean, it's, you know, this is the USDGC. You got guys who have trouble, and you know, but the guys held in there pretty well. I think Pasi Koivu was 2 over. Zach was maybe par, and Cameron Colglazer was maybe 2 under. But you know, it was a great group. All the guys were focused on what they needed to do. We had some decent conversation out there, and like I said, it was just one of those days that you know, you go out there and there's just, I don't know, there's just not much going on, and the disc golf gods are on your side.
Well, an 11 under is certainly going to put you on the top couple of cards tomorrow, if not on that leader card. Anything you're going to do differently?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, hopefully I can do it all exactly the same. I'm pretty sure if I shot 456s, I'd probably win the tournament. So, not that I expect that. Of course, it's always going to be a battle, but you know, it's good to always start off hot, and that's one thing I really haven't been able to do this year. I've been battling back from behind, so you know, I got a lot of confidence in those later rounds, you know, knowing that I can do it, and even under the pressure of trying to come back. So you know, I look forward to it for sure.
Well, we know it's early, but I'm going to say Nate Doss is one of the top scorers that we'll find out here during the opening round. He's your 2008 USDGC champion. He's going for another one this week.
Oh yeah.
Terry Miller will be joining us all week from the field to bring you the action up close. Now here's a little segment we like to call Sights and Sounds. Here at Rock Hill, the tension is palpable. There's 3 rounds to play after the first day. Now let's check out hole 5, which is our hole of the day, presented by Disc Golf Park. Welcome to the first metrics breakdown of the 2015 USDGC presented by the Disc Golf World Tour. Today we're going to preview Paul McBeth, the man chasing the Grand Slam, head-to-head against Will Schustrick, the reigning and 3-time US champion. Start with Will Schustrick. Started off today not as well as he would have liked. That's 2 over par 69, tied way back in 46th place. He was able to card an eagle and 3 birdies with 3 bogeys and a pair of above bogey. That's double or worse. You don't want to have those. His green hit percentage is down in the 33 range. The green hit percentage is an indicator of getting onto the green and having a putt for birdie or better. His putting was solid, 90%, and an outside the circle putt means he made some mistakes, but his solid stroke technique, getting the putter going, which is important for Will on courses like this. We expect him to correct his mistakes and come back with a better Thursday round. On the other side of the coin, Paul McBeth, 5 down, 62. That's solid. He's in the top 5, actually tied for 5th with a handful of other big names. He was able to get an eagle just like Will was, and you can see the difference in the birdie to bogey ratio. While they both took 2 others, that means double bogeys or worse, you can see the big difference right here. Paul was able to get almost half the course with birdies. His green hit percentage is a little bit bigger, but his driving is a little more accurate. His putting, a little substandard by McBeth standards, though those are very high in the first place. He was able to can 2 outside the circle putts, putting him in striking distance. Still with 3 rounds to go, he's a threat to win this tournament and take home the Grand Slam. Now let's check out some of the other competitors who are also chasing the coveted United States champion title. From champions to another champion, this is James Proctor, the reigning collegiate national champion out of the University of Nevada, Reno. A big guy standing really tall with a long wingspan and an arm as big as his smile in his profile picture there. He was able to get 7 birdies and an eagle. 3 bogeys doesn't quite add up to 5 down. We apologize for the error on that stat, but he was able to get a 62 confirmed by everybody at the scoring tent, so we do have that one right. His green hit percentage is somewhere between Paul and Will at 44%. His putting percentage is where you start to see the breakaway. Guys, in the top 5 at this course, putting is premium, and James Proctor showing he can get it done with the putter. 95% accuracy, 2 outside the circle. Look for more greatness to come from the collegiate national champion. Talk about big guns showing up strong at the USDGC this year. Eagle McMahon, who has already qualified for the Big Gun Showcase coming up the end of this weekend. He was one of the top 4 furthest throwers along with his teammate Simon Lizotte and a couple other names that you might want to know if you don't already know. But let's check out his play today. He showed that not only can he throw it long, he can throw it accurate. 8 birdies and no bogeys. This is a crucial stat. Staying inside the ropes all day, or at least being able to save that par if he did get outside in the hazard. Eagle McMahon with a 38% green hit ratio. He'll look to improve on that as the weekend goes on. But again, the putting gets you in the top 3. If you want a podium, you have to putt well, and Eagle's shown that he can do that and handle the pressure. He's only 17 years old. You might remember him from GBO when he made the top card and battled with Paul McBeth. He's got a lot of supporters in his young career. Let's look to see what he does as it gets closer to the weekend. Nate Sexton is up in 2nd place. You're going to see, normally when you see one of the guys from the Paul McBeth Tour tied for 2nd, it's probably not Nate. But that doesn't mean he can't play. He's got a smooth game, all-around great player, and a great mental attitude, which is crucial out here as well. Your putter and your mind are your top 2 friends or enemies, depending on how you play, and Nate's shown that he can handle it both. 9 birdies, only 1 bogey, and you can see the 95% putting accuracy is solid. The 38% green hits just speaks to how hard this course is. If you get outside those ropes that get squeezed down every year, year after year when the players come, they talk about it. accuracy and length is a premium. Pair that with a couple outside the circle putts, and you've got Nate Sexton tied with Eagle McMahon, 3 back of this guy. Yeah, that guy. The guy with 3 world titles. The guy who's won here before. Showing them all how it's done. Nate Doss with a monstrous 11 under par to hold down solo first place, 3 strokes ahead of Eagle and Nate Sexton. 12 birdies today. Think about that. If you come out to one of the hardest courses in the US, you're birdieing 2 out of every 3 holes to get that stat. That's impressive. Only 1 bogey. Hole 17, which considering how brutal that hole can be is not too bad. A missed 25-footer, not the worst thing that's going to happen when you're shooting like Nate was today. The difference here is the green hit percentage. He was able to have many more looks, about 20% more looks on average than the rest of his competitors in the top 5. 95% putting accuracy, and then outside the circle putts. It's amazing that these guys are able to go for it outside of the circle despite how tight these ropes are. Nate Doss showing him how it's done. We'll look to see what he does come tomorrow. If he shoots another 11 down, he's going to be really hard to catch going into the last 2 days when the pressure starts to mount and it gets to some of the other players. And that's how the numbers break down for the Wednesday rounds out here at Rock Hill. That is the Disc Golf Metrics, brought to you by the Disc Golf World Tour. Outside of Macbeth chasing the Grand Slam, the most interesting storylines have come from Paige Pierce. I caught up with her yesterday, shortly after her qualifying attempt. She's our featured interview tonight on The Insider Show. It's a beautiful day here at Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're awaiting the United States Disc Golf Championships to start for 2015, and meanwhile, I get to catch up with 3-time world champion Paige Pierce, who attempted to qualify Monday. Let's get that out of the way. Let's tell the story. What happened?
Well, last year I played performance, so this year I decided I would try to qualify. I did last year as well, but it was pouring rain, so I thought this year would be a little easier, but I played in the morning, which it was probably 30-mile-an-hour wind, and I think I actually would have preferred the rain. It was not pretty out there, especially with OB on every hole. With that strong of a wind, it was nearly impossible to stay in bounds.
And it was a tighter course, too.
Yes, every year it gets tighter. I noticed it immediately on hole 3. It should be one of the easier twoable holes, and the rope is so intimidating this year, along with almost every other hole. I was happy with the 72 in the conditions I played, but 3 holes I really wish I could get back. But the reason I didn't go out again is because the weather was getting worse and worse. And when I came in, it was 1:45, so I only had 15 minutes, hadn't eaten. And I thought that it would be too much pressure on myself. The way I started, I went 2-4, 2-4, 5, so I was 2 under course par, getting through, in my mind, the hardest stretch of the course. And so I thought if I played again and I didn't get through those first 5 holes, even or better, that my mental game would be crumble, and on the back half I would be panicking to try to, go for greens that I normally wouldn't have. And my game plan on qualifying, and if I played the tournament, was to play as conservative as possible and just stay in bounds.
How does it feel to know that you were probably everybody's favorite to qualify this year, and everybody was rooting for you? I mean, I'm standing here doing media, and I'm getting messages on my phone. How's Paige doing? Is Paige qualified? Is she still in it? All day long.
Yeah,
how's it feel?
That's such an awesome feeling. I got a lot of text messages and Facebook messages. I even had a guy PayPal me $50 to help my qualifying.
Wow.
So that was cool to, get that response and support. I wish I would have shot 2 strokes better. Looking back, I know I could have, but, it's easier said than done. And especially when you know what you have to shoot going into 18, one of the hardest ending holes on any course. I let the pressure get the best of me, I think, on that. But, there's always next year.
Next year, indeed. And there's no doubt that if you keep doing this, you're going to make it in. I mean, it's undeniable. We're just going to go ahead and mark it in the books right now. She will eventually, at some point, qualify for this tournament. I have no doubt. So your story, just in general, I think you've been one of the most interesting players in disc golf this year. Between winning the performance flight last year, trying to qualify, Worlds this year, and has been such a huge story in disc golf. You know, how does it feel a couple months removed now from that experience?
Right after it happened, I was still unsure. I think that kind of showed in my interview, like how I should have handled it, because I had thought about what if this happens, and I tried to prepare myself mentally for it, but you know, it's kind of like you can't think about the what ifs because who knows what's going to happen. But I think now looking back on it and having talked to Sarah about it probably 20 times since then, I feel like that what happened was what was supposed to happen, and you know, she's on the same page as me as far as, you know, there's so many more world titles up for grabs, and she thinks her time's going to come when it's right. And so as long as she's okay with it, I feel like I should be. It's still kind of hard because
Sure.
in my mind I feel that was hers, because she was beating me by I think 8 strokes, and that's a lot to come back from in one day, and the only reason I did is because of something tragic. So it's hard to get over, but she has, so
Yeah.
I feel like I should as well.
And that's, you know, one of the things I remember you very vividly saying in your interview is saying that she's a true champion. And I thought that was so true. And my read on it was that she wouldn't have wanted to win any other way.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, to me that validates what you did, you know. And I'm glad to hear that you guys talk about it. You know, what how did that conversation kind of come about? You know, it must have been awkward that first time.
It actually wasn't. Me and Sarah have been really good friends for a long time. I actually caddied for her to win her first Worlds. I didn't make it in the final 9, and we travel together all the time, and I was like, Sarah, can I caddy for you in the final 9? She kicked Don off her bag, and he was still there though. And you know, the first time we talked about it was probably awkward at first. Maybe both of us were unsure to bring it up or who was going to bring it up first, but we both knew. We went out to dinner the night after Worlds specifically to talk about it, and both of us knew that, but it was awkward to who was going to start the conversation. And yeah, we just went out and had dinner, and you know, we've traveled together since and stayed at the same campsite, hotel, whatever it may be.
So would you say your relationship, has it changed? I mean, it seems like it definitely hasn't gotten worse. Has it drawn you closer?
Maybe, I guess in a way, without it being spoken about, in the sense that it's made us closer. But we have spoken about it, obviously, like I said, but I think we've always been really close. We have a lot in common. I think underneath, we do feel like it made us closer. Yeah, felt like.
So, looking back, 3 world titles, you know, infinite fame in the disc golf sphere, been on ESPN. When you look back at your career, however many years it is from now, what do you measure as success?
Wow, that's a hard question.
Got a little deep on you.
Yeah, wow. I think my number one goal is to be the first 1,000 rated woman. A lot of, like you were saying earlier about how I can compete with the men and this. I can in one round, and that's why I think it was possible for me to qualify. But to be able to place in top 10 or the coveted top 20 or top 10 of USDGC, I think that's a little of a stretch right now, but I do feel that I could get to there. I think that just comes from consistency, which also translates into your rating. So I think the higher my rating gets, and the more consistent I get, I think that's when I'll feel success, is when I feel like I can consistently do my job to the best capability.
What is the number one thing in your way of getting to 1,000 rated, would you say right now?
I think the number of tournaments I'm playing, because it's hard to be consistent when you're playing every single weekend.
So you want to go less tournaments?
I do, but you know, there's so many good tournaments, it's hard to like sit one out. So.
And everybody wants a piece of your time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see you come and play the tournament.
Sure.
And kill it.
But I have talked about that. It's also less stressful for a touring player to not play as many tournaments, because when you're rushing to each tournament, it kind of gets redundant and it loses the fun and it becomes a job. And then the people that sit at home that are like, God, you have the best job ever, we think the same about y'all because you get to see your family and you know where you're gonna sleep at night. So I think if I played a little bit less tournaments and kind of sacrifice a couple tournaments per year, I think there would be less rated rounds on my ratings detail, and it's easier to get a higher rating if you're shooting less rounds.
You talk about family, and obviously it's very hard to tour and not be around them. You post a lot of pictures of your family on Instagram, social media. Are they your, motivator? Are they your number one motivation?
I think so because I want it to be worth why I'm not home and missing my brother's first day of first grade and my dad's birthday for the 7th year in a row, and all these things that I'm missing out on. I just want it to be worth it. And whenever I get a text message, on Monday morning saying, we were following and, we're so proud of you, that's awesome.
When the season comes to an end, so I guess with the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship already happened, the touring season's pretty much over for you. How do you look back on this season, and what grade do you give it if you're to grade yourself?
I think this is my best season yet, in every way, and I just hope it gets rewarded by Player of the Year. A few times I've been so close, and it's just slightly out of my grasp, and I just hope that I can achieve that this year, and I do have 3 tournaments left, maybe. I have an A-tier next weekend in Georgia, and then there's 2 A-tiers in Dallas, and I'm probably going to play those. So I think if I get at least top 2 at all 3 of those, I should be able to get Player of the Year.
Final question for you. Who's a better spike ball player, you or Paul?
Paul Macbeth?
Yeah, that guy. Some guy.
Man, it's it's hard to say because Paul has only played like probably 3 times, but everything he does, he goes all out on. Like he didn't even care if he was getting hurt. Like there's a group of us, like 20 of us that always play, and Paul Macbeth's never done it. And I don't know why I'm saying his first and last name still. Macbeth is,
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Everybody knows who he is. He's never been one of those, and I think we've never invited him because he's so focused on disc golf that we just assumed he didn't want to take the chance of getting hurt. But he was out there just landing on his back, fully committing to every shot. We were actually partners one game, and I was like setting him terribly, and he would still full out sprint and do like a side flip and spike it onto the net, and I felt bad as a partner because I didn't know he was going to go that hard. It was...
Yeah, all or nothing.
Yeah, he picked it up so quick. It's incredible. I would say in the long run, he's definitely going to be a better player. I think I could still take him right now.
Right now? Right now, you heard it first right here.
Sorry, Paul.
Paige Pierce is a better spike ball player, and we're going to interview Paul, spoiler alert, so I'm going to ask him about a spike ball rating, because I don't think it's 1051.
He is going to say he carried us that day, which I agree with. I do agree with.
Well, egos and boys and their egos, I guess.
Boys.
Well, I'll ask you one more bonus question. I've been asking everybody this. When you go up to a tournament, do you have a little ritual or a little pregame thing that you do that
before the entire tournament?
Well, yeah, before a round, kind of anything.
Certain tournaments, I guess.
Okay.
Like Worlds. I guess Worlds is probably my only one. I have this shirt that I found at like an Adidas outlet. Touring players always go to the outlets in between. Just pro tip. And I found this one for like $2, and it said, just in little letters, it says, I made a decision when I woke up, I'm gonna win it all. And at Worlds, I wear that to sleep every night. And then like when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, I could just read it in the mirror. And that's probably my only ritual that I have.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it's the best one I've heard so far.
I should probably wear it every weekend, but
yeah.
I didn't want to.
Did you not wear it before qualifying round?
I did not.
Oh, well, that's the reason. That's the only reason. Well, anyway, this is Paige Pierce, 3-time world champion, best disc golf spike ball player that I know. And one of the most genuinely awesome and fun people to talk to. Thanks for coming on and
Thanks
talking
for having
to us.
me.
Absolutely. Good luck next year, and we'll all be cheering you on. Now back to the Insider Show. As anyone who has played here can tell you, the first day's results merely set the table, but but dinner's not served until Saturday. Scores and places can change as quickly as the weather out here. Just ask Greg Barsby, who's become the latest victim of hole 13, carding a full dozen on the infamous 888. Surprises can happen too, as teammates and touring partners can find themselves in unfamiliar places. Macbeth chases Sexton, and Eagle McMahon, the young gun, out of Boulder, Colorado, leads Simon Lizotte after day 1. I'm sure you're as eager as I am to see what happens next, so get ready. Round 2 tees off at 7:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, stay tuned for our bonus round coverage, and as always, keep it locked to Spin TV. I'm Jamie Thomas, and this is the Insider Show from Rock Hill at the United States Disc Golf Championships.